okulira kw'abantu kasama yuthi bonse batindabe abakulu n'abaana bonse basittata n'abaana bayo balerilawe Mwamba kasama ile fire iwe wilewe boheshi Mwamba leader experience olakale wabomba Mwamba Emmanuel bonse bakasama bale fire Mwamba Emmanuel bakasama bakulira tule fire Mwamba wesu Emmanuel chipani ni PF tule fire Mwamba wesu Emmanuel wakuito mwele Emmanuel Mwamba ambassador Emmanuel wale fire Emmanuel Mwamba ambassador Emmanuel olakale wabomba Mwamba Emmanuel bonse bakasama bale fire Mwamba Emmanuel bakasama bakulira tule fire Mwamba wesu Emmanuel chipani ni PF tule fire Mwamba wesu Emmanuel wakuito mwele Emmanuel Mwamba ambassador Emmanuel wale fire Emmanuel Mwamba ambassador Emmanuel bakasama bakulira tule fire Mwamba wesu Emmanuel tule fire Mwamba wesu Emmanuel Emmanuel Mwamba ambassador Emmanuel Emmanuel Mwamba ambassador
Welcome to today's discussion on the brief. We are taking a hot topic today. You'll be able to call us on the number that we've provided. You can see it will be scrolling, and we've already advertised it. Today, the head of state, President Hakainde Hichilema, signed the Napsa pension bill, the amendment that was done to the Napsa bill. This is to allow for pension benefits, that you can access partial pension benefits. We thought that this is a hot topic. It has just come off the press and we needed to discuss it. The managing director for the Director General, Miango at Napsa, has actually even announced this evening that people can even begin to apply for this partial withdrawal of their pension benefits beginning tomorrow. Napsa will be able to verify the details and they'll pay them. So this looks to be a very exciting development. The UPND and their president are celebrating on social media that this is one of the fulfillment to the payment, one of the campaign pledges. But I thought that we could delve deeper into the issues like we do on the brief. We need to know what could be the pitfalls besides the celebrated benefits. What could be the threats to this new development? First thing first, who is eligible? First of all, the people that are under Public Savings Pension Fund are not eligible. Remember, this is a pension fund for public service workers, soldiers, teachers, policemen, people from the intelligence, and any public service worker who worked and joined before the year 2000. So if you are a civil servant and you joined the civil service or public service work before the year 2000, you're not eligible. The only people that are eligible are those that are under Napsa. And another one is for those that belong to private pensions. This is, remember, is an amendment to the Napsa Act. So it's specific. It's just to those that benefit to Napsa. So private pensioners, of course, we recognize, and I know, that Napsa was created as a basic pension scheme. That's why it doesn't have a lump sum. You retire and then you begin to get some small money just above the living wage for life. That is what Napsa is. It's a basic pension scheme, and it was designed that way. However, there's been this latest amendment where you can access 20% of your benefits. 20% of your benefits. What are the conditions? Number one, you should have contributed for over 60 months. Your contribution should have been over 60 months. 60 months is 5 years. Secondly, you should be above the age of 45. That is what this amendment is talking about. So we thought that we can delve into the issues. For us, our concerns have been very, very clear. We welcome any money that our workers will get, because the economy is bad. You know, the workers literally don't live on a living wage, and any money, the banking and financial environment is not good, it's prohibitive. Our workers are yoked to debts with especially microfinance institutions that have literally, made our workers slaves to these microfinance institutions. If you look at the public service workers and the debt that they have is huge. I think that's why there was an attempt by the previous government to do a debt swap, because government also owes our public servants a lot of money, many allowances, settlement allowances, leave allowances. We owe our workers a lot of money. So I know discussing this matter is a bit sensitive, because the worker wants wherever he can get the money. Someone else to come and benefit. So people really want to have this partial benefit. But what is the partial benefit? So here is the number first to call. I can see people already calling. Yeah, okay. I thought I could discuss it. We open the phone lines, and but people are calling already. It's okay, we'll take the calls. But what we would have wanted, number one, is that there should be an actuarial evaluation of Napsa. We know the worth of this investment by Napsa. Will it threaten the fund itself? How much does Napsa have? What is if we were to do an actuarial evaluation, this is an appraisal of the pension fund's assets and liabilities. What does it say? I think this we needed to do. Two, how much will our workers get? It's not a lot of money. Remember, the payment is 20% of your contributions, and our contributions are among the lowest. Remember, we said that this is a basic pension fund. It's a basic pension fund. So even your contribution, then your employer, does a contribution to what you contribute, and it's 5%. So the drawdown will not be much, because I've heard on social media, I want to deliver the bad news. Yes, there will be some money you will get, but I don't think that it will be money that you can buy a house, because 20% of your contributions. So we are asking Napsa first to give us a drawdown chart. How much will bands of workers get? If you are in this band, how much do you get, starting from the lowest, those that are in, just above the minimum wage, and up to the highest contributor? We need Napsa to tell us how much our people will get. And Napsa needs to tell us the impact of this change. It's been pushed by politicians. Politicians want to be popular. So there it is, our people will be very happy. But Napsa needs to tell us how this will impact, if negatively. That's why it was important that an actuarial evaluation is done. And this 20% drawdown that will be given to our people, is it interest-free? We need to know that. I just need to emphasize again, those that belong to the Public Service Pension Fund are not eligible, because this fund will begin to take phone calls immediately. I think this is a hot topic. Let's hear what our people will be saying. Good evening.
Evening, how are you?
Very well, please introduce yourself and your name. Your name and where you are calling from.
Okay, this is Samson Mtonga.
Mr. Mtonga, good evening.
Evening, thanks, and how are you, Ambassador?
Very well.
Okay, I'm calling you from Kamanga in Charleston area of Mealie constituency. Chakunkula ward to be specific.
Thank you very much.
Yes, just to contribute something on the Napsa issue.
Yes.
I think to my thought, it's not a good idea. Why am I saying so? You know, at the 30, 40, we differ how our minds grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Some they get mature early, some they get mature later.
Mm-hmm.
And that money, it's the last money that a person can use. Because there are some who settle while they are still working.
Yes.
There are some who settle after retiring.
Yes, yes.
So, for instance, we get a West person who is not matured enough in mind, that is grown enough. Then he'll get that money and use it for some other things. Maybe he'll go out and play with the women around, then meaning the children for the same person will suffer afterwards.
Yes, yes.
You understand? So some they may celebrate to be something good, but it will have negative impact to a lot of people. Because we have seen male parents getting loans and use the money for with ladies, and yet at home there's nothing. So what can stop a person with that caliber fail to get that money and misuse the money while the children at home and the wife, they are starving?
Yeah.
So it's very dangerous, though some can celebrate to say, okay, it's good, but it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because we have seen elderly people getting money now, and the same money that they're getting, that they worked for maybe 5 years ago, they're getting it now, and that's when they plan to buy a plot. Now what if that money was gotten at their peak of their age, then they use that money in the street with these ladies? What would have happened to the family?
Yeah.
The family would have been in problem.
Yes.
So that's
now, Mr. Mtonga, workers say
sir.
we want to have this access. It's a form of a loan. We want it now. What do you say?
In form of a loan, but we should also look at how much percent will be added on that loan. Because if it's a loan, there are a lot of financial institutions who are giving out loans even now. Yes.
Yeah.
So if they're giving me a loan, it will be more like how can I call it? The village banking system, where I contribute, then I get from the village bank at a low rate, then it's fine.
In fact, what it means is you are obtaining 20% of your future benefits. So you only get 80% of your benefits. So that would be the pitfall. At retirement age, they will deduct that 20% that you would have gotten earlier in your life.
Okay. Yeah, Skimo, it sounds good, but it will have negative impact to those who are not matured enough.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mtonga. You were the first caller, and thank you for your contribution. Let's hear what others will say.
I'm very happy to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
For me, I've called for reform for the financial and banking and financial sector. The reason our workers want this money is expensive to borrow from microfinance institutions, and money is not available with banks and other financial institutions. So they've resorted to accessing their partial benefits. If this environment was working, we have another caller. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Please introduce yourself and where you are calling from.
Yeah, this is Steven.
Yes, Mr. Steven.
Yeah, calling you from Kasama.
Yes, Mr. Steven. Please make your contribution.
I'm in Kasama. Yeah, I was just trying to make some calculations.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise, people should not celebrate over this 20%.
Imam kafola shinga.
You know what I was trying to calculate?
Mm.
Yeah, here's a person who has accumulated probably 100,000.
Yeah.
And if you are to talk of 20%,
Yeah.
that person will get 20,000.
Yes. Yes.
And looking at today's economy,
Mm.
what can one do over that 20,000
Yeah. Yeah.
with this biting economy? Totally nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, abantu bale bati bakapanga mayanda bakashitama motoka. Is it possible?
Nakaproti kaka ina zero.
But still, Natasha Sana, thank you very much. Let's hear what others will say. Thank you very much. So, like I was stating, that the Act as amended as conditions, and the conditions are that your contribution should have been 60 months, which is 5 years. You should have contributed to Napsa for 5 years minimum. And then you should be around the age of 45. That's what the Act says. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Please introduce
evening,
yourself
Your
and where you are
Excellency.
calling from.
I'm Gift Karumba. I'm calling from Kitwe.
Yes, what gift?
Yes, Your Excellency.
Good evening.
Quite a good program and very informative as usual. Very much appreciated. I just need maybe clarity from you
Yes.
on this decision. There was a decision that was done previously by I would say the previous government on Regina Setunia, which miners got paid some form of money. Could this be a hitting back on that decision, so that one way or the other, the political it appeals like an appeasement politically by the current government?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want you just to analyze from that angle.
Okay, Gift, let me answer you quickly on that. We should know that Satunya Regina is a private pension fund,
Yes.
and there have been issues around there. You had a long-standing matter with BP workers who have won awards at High Court and Supreme Court, and we have concerns around miners, especially KCM, who were managed by Regina, Satunya Regina. This is a private fund. So the issues around there are a bit difficult because it's a private fund, but there are a lot of concerns. But you asked a good question. Is this a way to compensate? Because Satunya Regina is associated with President Hakainde Hichilema. Could it be that they're trying to compensate? Let's remain with the facts. Number one, this only affects Napsa. So Satunya Regina or any other pension fund, Mukuwa, and any other pension fund that you know will not benefit. Further, those workers under public service pension fund, and those are mostly civil servants who joined before the year 2000, those again are not eligible to this fund. And then we have workers under Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board. This fund is for those occupation hazards. If you've had an injury, again, those workers are not affected, those that make contributions there. In fact, I have been advocating that especially public service workers, they should be included under Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board. Imagine abantu abafuile pali COVID. Those just died, and other than what they'll get from Napsa, there's nothing. But if they were members of Workers' Fund Control Board, they'll be eligible for life. Naba na kutia basambilisha I fund. So Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board, they are not eligible. Private pension funds, they are not eligible. This is just for Napsa. And we should remember who Napsa is. Napsa is a basic contribution. In fact, even if you belong to other pension systems and other pension funds, Napsa is a basic one. You still have to belong to Napsa. Every worker in Zambia has to belong to to Napsa. And it's capped. Your contribution can't exceed 1,800. Even if I'm PS, I'm director. And get after my life, because my contributions are limited. And remember, it's your contributions that are paid back with interest.
Okay.
Thank you, a gift. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We had difficulties last time to pick WhatsApp calls. Are we able to pick WhatsApp calls? Yeah. So you still can call on WhatsApp, especially for those that are in the diaspora. I noted that we only saw a lot of missed calls after our call. Let me take this call. Good evening.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
This is Lukonde, calling from Mafinga.
Balukonde Mwabombeni.
Wino Mwamba wino wa Mwamba.
Endita, Mafinga, kumafinga kuine after Isoka in Uchinga. Oh, wonderful. Glad that you are watching us. Please make your contributions.
Okay, I was making calculations. Just to ride on from the previous caller.
Mm-hmm.
When you do the calculation, for instance, if someone has saved maybe like minimum of 5 years, the maximum maybe contribution one will make it's about 50,000 somewhere there.
And what's 20% of that?
20% of that amount of money. It's a very little money, which I hope nothing can do from that money. So I was suggesting that if the government wants to help us, what they can do is to give us maybe civil servant free interest loan. If their intention is to help civil servants. Yeah, so that's my suggestion. I see that was my contribution, because this issue will cost us in future.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Walukonde, all the way from Mafinga. That has been my point, and I've received a lot of messages because a lot of people are doing their own calculations. You know how long you've worked, for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and you know what the contributions are, and you can calculate 20% of that. Many people have sent me messages to show that the contribution is between 6,000 and 10,000 kwacha. So whilst there's excitement, well, this is not money, like I said, that would even buy you a plot, would buy you a car or a house, as the politicians are trying to tout it. Yes, it will be some money, especially in this depressed economy. Yes, it will be very important for the worker. You can call us on 0973-045292. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please tell us your name and your where you are calling us from.
Mapulanga Kalungu from Lusaka.
Bakalungu, Mwabombeni. What are your contributions?
My contribution is that first of all, the government needs to really come out open on the bans that they are giving out. And if they give us the bans clearly, then we need also to know what are the alternatives of investment that are there. Okay? Yes, so we need the opportunity for them to say, we can give you these investment opportunities so that you can earn, for example, if you have the interest in farming, if you have the interest in mining, and we can put you in a group, or depending on your location, what we can help you with so that you can make money as a group, unlike the little 20% which won't take us anywhere. Honorable Ambassador, that 20,000, if it is out of 100, when it won't take people anywhere. No plot, no house, no bike, maybe the bike place and the motorbike. But seriously speaking, if we mean well, we really need to see how we help our people. For me, it is a good intention, though not perfectly done, though not really done with the sense of helping the workers who really worked for a long time, only to be given a 20%. Perhaps if they push at 40%, it could be actually kukapera komuchinchi kuri fweba ombaka repota tuambako ngutapiriza ambataba nangula watu stako bandi watu afurisha wana fweba afurisha wa Kenya. The intention of helping like Kenya, if they can also help us in that line as locals, then it will really have a serious value addition to the percentage plus what the government can do for the local citizens. I think that would be ideal.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Wamaplanga. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you can call us on 0973-045292. As stated earlier, Napsa is the basic pension scheme. It doesn't give lump sum, but this 20% will be a lump sum as your pre-retirement payment. Napsa only gives you, in your old age, a living wage. Remember, the intention for Napsa was that there is no old age destitution. Let me take this call. Good evening.
Walishani ba Mwamba mkwani.
Iyo tulifia wino shana imwe.
Bamwanga kuno kusolwezi.
Endita Bamwanga, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and how are you?
Very well. How is Solwezi today?
Solwezi is fine.
Na mkwato bunga.
Izeli ya kutanta baba Mwamba na viberechi.
Mkwayo, let's contribute to this Napsa debate.
Baba Mwamba, there was a clarification.
Yes.
Number one, abantu abali eligible.
Yes.
Apo pali your statement tumufiiri okweba ati omuntu afiire aba 45 or he has contributed more than 60 months nga twakita calculate in 5 years.
Yes.
So therefore I must clarify. Omuntu ng'ali above 45 years nangula tatite contribute 60 months. Okirapoka, the number one. Number two, nangutafishishe 45 years, but ajita contribute 60 months. Na vyokuti apoka padi fibidi hapo. And then inga mwakonga futi ishine ndala mashana apsa takatwebele ko futi ama details wino wino. For example, utuwa yalanga tumuntu aita contribute 100 pin. Ushana babika kugenda kale interest appreciation MP before tabalanda. They need to come clearly tell us to say you have contributed so much and your interest is so much and what we can give you is so much. So that information is not there. And as we have put it, ingachajwe mengaji pali 50%. 50%, but Nigambo, it's 50-50. Kuri abo bantu tibachita invest kwino. Bambira wote tibachita invest. Chilemi yakashakunta chikuti chasaba ichashupa. So that's what I wanted to let you clear me.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me answer you off the line so that we can give others an opportunity. Like I stated, Napsa Director General Muyangwa says these partial payments that the president signed today will begin as early as tomorrow, but you should have made contribution of 60 months minimum, and you should be at the age of 45 years. Those are the two key issues that the law has brought up. Good evening, and tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
How are you, Bwana Mwamba?
I'm very well, thank you, and how are you?
Marilanda.
Endita yama badishani.
Wino shani yama.
Iyo fowe na Rilanda tukateka.
Bamdara.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, John Banda.
Yes, Mr. Banda.
Yeah. I just want to find out. For example, you started contributing from 2000 up to 2019. Is that money going to be paid with interest or what?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good question,
Because
Mr. Banda.
For example, my contribution is 150. Starting from 2000 up to 2019. How are they going to calculate it with interest? How are they going to calculate it with interest?
Yes.
Because immediately when I started contributing in 2000, it started making interest. From 2000, the interest. 201, 203, 2010, there is interest.
Yes.
So we need to know how much is the interest.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
We need to know the interest.
Wonderful,
Because, for
Banda.
example, if my total amount is 150, then with interest is how much?
Yes.
Yes, Bwana Mwamba.
Okay. No,
That's
I'll
my
answer you
question,
off
sir.
the line. No, thank you very much.
Yes, cousin.
No, thank you very much. We should be very clear. That's why we are demanding on Napsa to go on information overdrive, that the information is not given by third parties like ourselves. Our workers have a lot of questions. If, for example, I'm drawing 20%, does it come with the interest over the years? And what that means, if you pay me with interest, I'll probably then lose when I finally retire and begin to draw down, from my 80%. That's what it means, is that I'll lose that interest on the 80%, because I will have paid it on the 20%. So that's why I advised on this program that Napsa must come immediately to the media and tell us what are the drawdown levels. Workers that contribute 100 kwacha, how much will they get? Up to workers that contribute 1,800 kwacha, because that's a cap. Remember, Napsa is capped. It's not a very lucrative pension system. It's a basic. It had to be an average pension system for every worker, the lowest worker and the highest worker. That's why it's capped. So Napsa has an obligation to come to the media and tell us, especially the bands of how much the workers will get. And this issue of 45. So what if I started work early and I've already made contributions? So I can only access when I'm above 45. There are all these issues that Napsa need to come to the media. Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Please, your name and where you are calling us from.
I'm calling from Mazabuka.
Yes, sir. And your name?
My name is Brian.
Brian. Oh, Brian. Yeah. Please make your contribution, Brian.
Yes, President. I'm sure President like to trade kind of what I say sumaka. He like yakobati so apart to kumatawa na tuma ba kumatawa kumana mwaloko. If you are reached amatawa President called, then there is no way quite time to share amatawa. If we can next time we talk about shape, I don't forget advice to him.
Yeah.
Next time more advice. Very degunga, mujitonga, very degunga. Na wamba tu nina kusambara mapopo, nishunina kusambara mapopo. Na wamba tu nina kusambara mapopo, nikasambari mapopo. Kambo at the end of the day, nzala latinjiza muno manda yesu. So nindivora wataka induru galimu.
Yeah.
Let it be first and last, wataka induru galimu.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brian. In fact, this gives us an opportunity to introduce our next subject. We are tackling 4 issues tonight. Napsa, I know, was hot, and it is hot. But the next issue is that our food security and this decision to import GMO maize is gotten us, all of us, worried. This morning, I called for the resignation of the board and management of the National Biosafety because they informed us that, in fact, Zambia has been importing GMO products The law is very clear. The Biosafety Act of 2007 calls for us to, the National Biosafety, to, number one, consult the publicly widely. Number two, on all your GMO products that you are importing, it should not affect your national crop or national livestock. Meaning products of national importance such as maize, or products of like livestock, like cattle and goats. These are national importance. So there should be no GMO, genetically modified organisms. This is a new science where scientists are changing the genetic makeup of crops. And there's danger. We don't know what the effects will be on our people. We don't know what the effects will be on our people. So the Biosafety Act of 2007, designed by President Mwamba and implemented then, is very, very clear that number one, you don't touch national crops like maize. Number two, every importation of GMO products requires public consultation. And what we've seen from Ministry of Agriculture and from the National Biosafety today, even telling us that maize that is GMO is safe for consumption in Zambia. Well, for me, that's why I called for the resignation and for possible criminal investigations against the management and board of the National Biosafety Authority. Let me take this call. Good evening.
Yes, boss.
Good evening.
Mbwanji.
Tiri bwino muli bwanji ndi bwandani ero mtumila kuti.
Tumina kumazabu.
Yes, sir.
Ine nikamba che monga issue ya vokudia mu Zambia. Tumangala navo, tumangala very enough. But samesi tumafunika che nijati mwenda kusogolo. Mwezi wati kusogolo uzankala problem yaso. Ini futi mwambogulisa milisi. Fiti ya milisi mkaigulisa futi mkawana tukwabwira problem futi mwambo struggle nga kusilinga problem mjamene futi. Sasa meni kapeche milisi yewe tuisunge monga yewe kaidiye vokudia vamu Zambia vamete tunkarira pano pa Zambia ndiye vokudia vatise venango stimadia monga marai stima kwanisa kwayati. No better milisi yewe tuihanderinge mushe tukazisunga mushe pa tukazinkara mushe. Otherwise ndiye vamene ngakambe chapeo.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good. The issue of maize is very, very critical. I last week called for the resignation of the minister because I think that he was careless in his decision. He acted very dangerously, has threatened our national security. We had a bumper harvest of 3.6 million metric tons in 2021. We had another bumper harvest of reduced by 25%, but of 2.7 million metric tons. And he proceeded to export all the maize. And the current maize we have will barely last us 2 months. Let me take this call. Hello, good evening.
Ambassador, good evening.
Mkwai.
Iriashi limpita munja kulero sendande popeni ashiri ya mataba.
Mkwai.
Iriashi ya mataba ambassador nari tusakamika sana ngechalo.
Yeah.
Ubu afya abena Zambia tufuye wonse nomba tuleiruka tule monoko tulewa. So iriashi ya mataba futhi natukwato wafya. We did not do well in terms of farming this season. I would give an example. Could you already manage 10 hectares? Maybe that 5 hectares. Could you have 5 hectares? You have done 2 hectares. Because fertilizer, we cannot say we don't go there.
Yes.
So this is a very, very big problem that we are going to face. Na ngumuntu ngobatabate mufume hii problem timwa titwa ipashanya na problem ya malaiti after uteko tuwavuvotera kuwavapo tuwalisa shitishamba laiti ayi wapana kuti kukaliko kwavati ave na Zambia yakulia futi kwamba ukuchita import amalaiti.
Yes.
So in the same vein, we allowed to open up the gates that begin to export this man. When we realized that we have exported much, put to assume that we import. What kind of a system is this one? This is uncalled for.
Yes.
So, we really have abantu bonse bakwata access kumufundo otuingeshwa chabantu balali mabata na mataba ya alafu.
Yes.
Mumbo na unina na mutulate kati tukesa itafia balance kwino yo.
Yes.
Namba nzita chota kunja sukewa ambasada. Ni pamba conditions na chipsia Napsa. Pani eligibility. Umuntu ugwete achita contribute 60 months, 60 times.
Yes.
60 months. And then the age who 45. Apota to shirava clarified wino. Ero kabiri banapsa beneta balatuwa wino because for example I've contributed 150. The very rich community banapsa because I'm in the 20% or what. So we need that information well.
Yeah. Okay. Yo, Nala Valanga. I will be playing the video on GMO where the National Biosafety impounded some GMO already. But let me take this call before we go to that video. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, this is Kisegluna calling from Mansa district of Rapla province.
Yes, sir. What are your contributions?
Yeah, nifunza uchepangono amwamba. Usheka Napsa partial withdraw. Muka unabwanja kakani.
Okay, good. Nalaya skayama. Imo mlechi monashan.
Kwena kada monika wino mo.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually to save especially those in the civil service and other workers also save. For example, ndavenda tenga loan kamba the depot. Let's say 80,000 in a period of 5 years. That person will end up paying more than 200,000. So jamarendi institution si kuba kucha. Yeah, but kapasho withdraw case kachabe buino.
Okay.
Yeah, chenche to alikile awantu.
Okay, no, thank you very much for that contribution. So before I answer that, I said we had called for the resignation of Mr. Mtolo Piri because he misled our people. He said we had adequate maize and there was not going to be a shortage of mealie-meal. Despite repeated information, they kept on exporting our maize to Kenya, to Tanzania, to Malawi, to South Africa. And like someone gave an example, from load shedding, we had the crisis of load shedding because we had exported, not because we didn't have enough power, but our power exports made us go into that load shedding. Similarly, we have a food insecurity because we've exported almost all our maize. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, please tell us your name and where you are calling from and your nature of contribution.
I'm Morgan, I'm calling from Kitu.
Yes, Morgan, what are your contributions?
Yeah, I wanted to contribute on the issue of Napsa partial withdrawal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm in my position, I feel the ambassador, Mr. Mwamba, is too hairy to start commenting on that because Napsa hasn't stated the position. So it's like he's just speculating on things. So for me, I feel maybe it could have been better for him to get information from Napsa and then he comes to analyze the things that he gets. But at the moment, there's nothing.
No, but Morgan, this wa Napsa Director General nabachita issue statement bebere kutumwa chita apply tomorrow and nababikana ma conditions minimum if you have contributed 60 months and minimum age of 45 years. We also have the Napsa Act that was assented by the President this morning. It's been made public. We have discussion. So already, Abashashta who contribute more than 5 years, they've eliminated themselves. Those that are below the age of 45, they've eliminated themselves. From the basic information, we can discuss.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yes.
But on the issue, where he's not answering, where they ask him whether that money will come with interest. There's no answer from him.
No,
I
agree with you. That is why I'm calling on Napsa. This is a very important topic for our workers across the country. Yes. Napsa should go to the media immediately and answer these issues. They are the only ones vested with information and authority to answer on it. For us, you know, as public commentators, we can discuss the viability of Napsa, the threats that this law may bring. We can discuss from those broad policy issues. But the particular details, like what happens to those that are below the age of 45, Napsa must be able to answer. Yeah, what happens to their interest, Napsa must be able to answer.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Thank you, Morgan. Any other contribution?
Then the last point is that these people feel that it's, some people are saying twice again, that's it, they start saying, but this is the money which they should invest. So I personally feel that people should be educated. This is not the money that you can just get and use on whatever things that you want to know. This is money for the future. This is money they should invest in something. That's the last contribution I wanted to make.
Oh, that's very productive, Morgan. That's very productive. I love that answer. Yes. Thank you very much. Morgan is right. You are eating your future. So what happens when you are given this future? Kuya at Twano again. Kuya chirisha awane. But like we said, any money to our workers is welcome because our workers are near destitution, yoked to these microfinance institutions and not paid most of the allowances that government owes them. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Where are you calling from? Give us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, this is Emmanuel. I'm calling from within Lusaka.
Okay, wonderful. Please give your contributions.
Okay. Yeah, so I had a look at the act which was amended. And the partial withdrawal, it's not like someone has to be, I mean, there are two options there. The criteria is twofold. So I could be less than 45 years of age, but I've contributed more than 60 months. I qualify. Or I can be more than 45 years of age. So just wanted to clarify on that one. Those are two criteria. It doesn't mean that if you are less than 45, then you are disqualified. Yeah. Okay. So there is, in the clause, there is contributions of more than 60 months or
minimum,
Yeah, so people shouldn't say those below 45 are disqualified. No, thanks.
In your view, just a minute before you go, Amashina.
Sure.
You brought a good insight. In your view, everyone who has contributed above 45 is qualified to get the 20%.
The way it has been put in the amended bill, yeah.
If you are 46, if you are 47, what happens to you?
Yeah, you still qualify. So, in my own view, and this is subject obviously to interpretations, but in my view, it's such that I can be 45, probably haven't met that criteria of having contributed for over 60 months. You know, some people, they were in business, maybe they just started doing formal, they just got into formal employment in at a later stage.
By Emmanuel,
but maybe,
I've just retrieved the statement read on ZMBC today that was issued by Director General Myangwa. It's on ZMBC website, so if anyone wishes to verify. Let me read you what the Director General said, which I have been quoting myself. So Mr. Myangwa says claims will be done online, adding that payments will be processed as soon as beneficiary details are verified. He says the beneficiary, number one, needs to have made more than 60 months contributions to the authority and be above 45 years old. This is a statement that was read on ZMBC, written by Mr. Masao Somkwaya at ZMBC, verified information. So your interpretation sounded good and gave hope. But if you see what the Director General stated, you need to be above 45 years and minimum you should have contributed above 60 months, 5 years. Because you can be employed at the age of 41, you know. You can be employed at the age of 42. Very late in their lives. That is why they are putting this 60 months. So for me, my interpretation, quoting both the Act as amended and the Director General as public statement that has been issued by on ZMBC, I thought those were the clear issues. However, let us subject this to further information from Napsa. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Is that Ambassador Mwamba?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm following your program, sir, and it's interesting that we are sensitizing the people.
Yes.
I am Kefas Nyango, I'm the head corporate affairs for Napsa, and I would like to bring some context to the matter under defense.
Kefas, you are welcome. Please alert our people what the issues are. You must have heard the concerns already, so I'm giving you, please begin to speak.
Yes, first of all, I want to thank you, Ambassador, for bringing this issue to the table to discuss it. It's a very important national matter, and I would just like to speak to a few things. I think there is a bit of lack of clarity on one or two things, specifically on the issue of the criteria.
Okay.
So, according to the new act that has been assented to by the president, for a person to qualify to access their Napsa contributions, they are contributing, remember, they must have contributed to Napsa and should have at least 60 contributions. Now, when you have 60 contributions, it doesn't matter yours. So you might be 25, you might be 30, you might be 49 or 45 or 50. As long as you have at least 60 contributions, you qualify.
Good.
Now, where does the 45 come in? The Act says, not and. I think there is a text in the report where it says and. It's not and, it's or. So, the or 45 is catering for those who may be 45 and above, but they haven't made 60 contributions. So if you are 45 and you only have 40 contributions, you can still claim. So that's on the qualifying criteria. I think I needed to clarify that particular point. And then on the issue of claiming, yes, we are. The claiming process is going to be done online. People will be able to claim from the comfort of their offices or their homes or wherever they are. All they need to do first of all is to sign up on our new eNapsa, which we have rolled out. The new eNapsa was rolled out on 6th of March. So there are those who could have signed up on the old eNapsa before that.
niwevo vanefwaya kafa vavaranda mweumfokurira kwavantu skazama yusi vose vachinda mea vakuru na vana vose vasvitata na vana vayo vanelila wemwamba skazama ilefwaya iwe wine wevo weshimwamba leta experience olankane wevomba mwamba Emmanuel vose vakasama valefwaya mwamba Emmanuel vakasama vakulira tulefwaya mwamba wesu Emmanuel chipani ni PF tulefwaya mwamba wesu Emmanuel wakuito mwele Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel walefwaya Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel olankane wevomba mwamba Emmanuel vose vakasama valefwaya mwamba Emmanuel vakasama vakulira tulefwaya mwamba wesu Emmanuel chipani ni PF tulefwaya mwamba wesu Emmanuel wakuito mwele Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel walefwaya Emmanuel.
eligible if they meet those two criteria.
Okay. Now, Kefas, we are going live again. We were mute because of the mic.
Okay, thank you very much, Ambassador. Once again, I just wanted to clarify on the criteria for the eligibility criteria for claiming Napsa benefits. The first criteria is that a member must have 60 contributions.
Okay.
So 60 contributions, it doesn't matter within what period those 60 contributions were accumulated. There are those who would work on double jobs or 3 jobs and all the companies are submitting contributions for them. Others could have even worked for 10 years.
Yes.
But what is key is minimum 60 contributions.
Okay, very clear.
Now, and then the law also says or. It doesn't say and. It uses the word or. So it gives an opportunity for those who may not have 60 contributions. If they are 45 years and above, they can still claim. So you might find the person is 45 years, but they only have 50 contributions, and they still want to access their money.
But they're above the age of 45. Those can access.
So if you have less than 60 contributions, if you are 45 years and above, you can still access.
Okay, good. And anyone below the age of 45 can still access this 20% partial payment?
As long as they have 60 contributions and
they are
above,
contributing members.
They are eligible.
Okay. Now, there are questions that I received. Are you paying this with interest?
Okay, so the 20% ambassador is 20% of your total contributions. And that 20% of your total contributions will be indexed and interest added. Now, what is indexation? I think that is what people would be asking.
Yes.
You see, over time, you find that when you're contributing, over time, money loses value because of inflation and other things. But what we do as Napsa is we make sure that we preserve the value of money to make sure that this money, it gives you the same value that you could have had it when a number of years back.
So you will apply interest, in short, to ordinary people?
Of course. The ordinary language is that there will be interest. So if, for example, let me give a very practical example. If you are seeing 10,000 kwacha as your total contribution, employer and employee, 20% of that is 200 kwacha, right?
Yes.
Now, you are not going to get the 200 kwacha. That 200 kwacha will be indexed.
Okay.
So you get more than the 200 kwacha, which, so anyone who looks at their contribution, their statement, and they see the amount, they do not just apply 20% of that amount and they say this is the money they will get.
So it's 20% plus interest.
Exactly.
Okay. Last one. We have many employers that are in default, do not submit these statutory requirements. They have sometimes up to 2-5 years. You know, you deal with these matters usually. What happens to those claimants whose employers have defaulted?
So, Ambassador, what we have actually done with the new claim process, and which I need to emphasize, by the way,
yes,
that for you to access the pre-retirement benefit, you need to sign up on our new Napsa, which was rolled out on the 26th of March. Now, what this means is that all claims will be done online. So if you do not sign up, you can't access. It's as simple and straightforward as that. I know somebody might ask, what about those who have no access to the internet, those who are in areas maybe where Napsa is not present? So what we've done is those who may have internet issues, they can be assisted at our offices. And we also do carry out what we call mobile offices. In areas where we do not have permanent offices, every month we carry out mobile offices. Even through those mobile offices, people can still be assisted. But the most important aspect to note here is that you need to sign up to access. Now,
so this signing up, you have a Napsa application.
Yes, we have the Napsa on our website. You go to our website and there is an Napsa there which you have to sign up. Give us your mobile number, we verify, we send one-time passwords and make sure that you sign up. Now, the signing up process is very critical because it's a verification also of who you are. Are you the right person who is signing up? Because we will have to verify your information in the background.
But step us just on that, before you go ahead. Not about a smartphone. What happens if they have just a small phone, Infinity, which can't, have internet? What happens in those cases?
So this is where we are saying our offices have been equipped to assist every member who may not be capable of doing it on their own.
Okay.
Exactly.
But you are encouraging people to use online application.
It's more convenient, Ambassador. You can imagine you are seated in your own house. You don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to queue anywhere. You just go online and apply. And if you want to claim, it's just a click of 2-3 buttons and your money is in your mobile account in no time or in your bank account. It's neater that way, isn't it?
Okay. And this application is easy, huh?
It's not a complicated application. It's a 3-4 step process of signing up. First of all, you need to have your copy of NRC soft copy, your passport size photo, and most importantly, also you need to make sure that your phone number is properly registered with your mobile telephone company. Because Ambassador, what happens with a lot of people is they have numbers which they are using which are registered in their grandmothers or friends or sisters or brothers and all that.
So they need to have a number because you might pay by mobile money. They need to have a number registered to themselves.
So you have to make sure that your number is registered according to your NRC. The way it appears on your NRC is how it should be registered also with your mobile network operator. Then you go online, you'll be able to sign up. Once you signed up, the process you have attached your NRC and your passport size photo, we give you your login credentials.
I have seen on visa application, it's a bit difficult to attach a passport or to attach document or a passport photo. Is your application easier to do that for ordinary people?
You can actually drag and drop it just in the box there. All you need to make sure that your NRC, your copy of the NRC that you are attaching has both sides, front and back, and it's clear. There are some more applications that we have rejected because you find people are attaching wrong things, or just one side of the NRC, or maybe the NRC is not clear, we can't read what is there. Now, it's important that these documents are clear, because we want to identify you properly and make sure that when we are paying the right person.
That was my other point. Fraud. How do you ensure that there are no fraudulent activities on the application?
So the activities, those one-time password, that issue of ensuring that your number is properly registered according to NRC, that presentation of your copy of NRC and passport size photo, your email, and all that, it's going through verification process. And that's why sometimes some people might say, but why is it taking maybe 2 days to approve or something like that? Or everybody who is applying, we need to make sure that we verify all the information that they're giving us to avoid anybody taking advantage of the system.
Okay, so Kefas, as I let you go, just to allow any other questions from our contributors, can I call you back in case there comes a burning issue that we haven't cleared?
Ambassador, I'm at your service.
Okay,
I'm at your service.
Wonderful. Thank you for that open manner. It's very few public officers that would call, someone deemed an opposition leader. I would like to commend you and to commend Napsa for this open door policy. Remember, you guys helped me in December. I walked into that office to claim my NPF fund, and my NPF money was in my account just the following day in the afternoons. So thank you very much for your policy. And I wish many public institutions were like the way you guys are working. But before you go, from us policy experts, policy concerns, we are worried. Won't this bankrupt the fund? Has assessment been done? Was there an actuarial evaluation done on the fund? What are your liabilities? What are your assets? Are they threatened by this partial withdrawal of 20%? If it's something you can answer, I'll be glad to get that.
Ambassador, those are important concerns and important questions you've asked, and those are questions that were asked during the time the bill was passing through Parliament, and confidence and assurance was given that the fund is sound, it's not threatened, and the members can be assured that when they get their money, what we just asking is to make sure that they invest their money properly in ventures that will bring value. Because once a member has accessed 20% of their benefit, what this means, Ambassador, and it's important that I mention this, we have full disclosure on this matter. What this means, Ambassador, is that your ultimate benefit that you are going to get at the time you qualify, whether it be for survivor's benefit or it's retirement benefit or invalid benefit, the benefits will reduce by 20% because you would have already consumed your 20%. So it's important that the members apply these monies in a very efficient way. They invest it prudently so that they also don't disappoint the President of the Republic of Zambia, who actually believes the fact that, and we support that the Zambians will invest this money and boost their businesses. As in terms of Napsa, the fund is at no point and in any way not threatened, Ambassador. It's sound and it shall continue to flourish.
Okay, the last one. There will be so many last ones. Do you have powers? Do you have powers to compel private pensioners, private pension funds? Do you, or they are supervised by the pension and insurance authority, isn't it? Do you have any leverage over them?
No, Ambassador. I think for us, we are governed independently by the NPS Act number 40 of 1996. Those private pension funds are governed by the Pension and Insurance Authority Act, which is independent from our Act. So we are independent bodies governed by different statutes.
Yes, because I was belaboring a point that the private pension fund will not derive benefits from this act. This is strictly for Napsa and Napsa contributing members, isn't it?
This is strictly for Napsa contributing members, Ambassador.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kefas. I'm grateful, and let's hear what others will say. Thank you for your gracious approach. Thank you. Okay, so we had an opportunity, from Kefas from Napsa is, I think, in charge of information, is a public relations manager, and I think he has clarified most of the questions. So thank you very much. This is what we want. We want a discourse that benefits our people. We don't want to churn out propaganda or misinformation. And Kefas has done very well to come and give the fund's position. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Okay, yeah, so Emmanuel again,
Emmanuel, thank you very much.
Yes.
You seem to have a delegate from Kefas.
He spoke my mind. He spoke my mind.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I think all the questions we're arguing about have been clarified.
Exactly.
I think, yeah. Please contribute.
Oh, sure, yeah. So the key issue was on the or the and. But anyway, that has been clarified. So now, I think this is a reaction to Kefas. I was actually checking on their site, on the same platform that is talking about the Napsa. It's quite a simple. The platform is quite okay, as in you can navigate without difficulties. However, on the, I think maybe Napsa hasn't yet done the required changes, because as it is on the requirements, if you look at it, there are a number of things that they are requesting for apart from the ID. There's also letter of termination and what. So it's a whole system for those who are claiming not. So this one, we can allow them maybe today and tomorrow.
Yes.
But it hasn't yet been changed to suit. I mean, there's no provision for partial withdrawal where the member is
Emmanuel, you might have to look at the application. He says there's a new one they launched on 26th March, which is just 2 weeks ago. Is that the one you are looking at? He seems to have been emphasizing.
Exactly.
So it appears like there is an old application and a new application.
It's on their site, so there's only one in Napsa. So
okay.
I think they haven't yet adjusted that, because it's got on the requirements. There is also letter of termination, proof that you left employment. So I think that's maybe might react later on, like you. And I like the fact that you spoke to him to say there might be more reactions.
Yes.
You just need to clarify. I think they haven't yet put provision for partial withdrawal.
Yes, I think the application before this new law was for those making final claims when they've retired, where you need a proof of termination and a letter, of termination or proof of retirement. But like you were saying, I think then on the application they should have two: the fresh one for partial, claims, the partial pre-retirement benefit, and the original one where people claim, for their pension benefits.
True.
Yeah.
So,
well,
Kefas,
if he's listening, is willing to come back and take his call. Thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you for your contribution. They were very insightful.
Cheers.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much again to Kefas from Napsa, who literally put the debate to bed. The issues are for us, politicians that are asking certain political issues, but from the operational perspective and how this fund will be, how the drawdowns will be done, I think it has been made very clear. On Napsa, again, I want to emphasize that even the demand for partial payment is because the banking and financial sector has not responded very well. If it was responding very well, where loans were cheap and accessible, our people will not eat from their future. Hello, good evening, and tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Mr. Sakala from
Yes, Mr. Sakala, good evening.
Evening,
misa. Tezaka majaku watu chicheva ndisira kuchipata.
Iyo mbuya landa bwino landa. Elo tuwala unfu.
Papa Napsa tifuna understand. For example, nchito unareka nchito unachitariliwa anakuchosa nchito waleka nchito lomba 45 years yamena rukamba. Are you sure ungachite qualify before 45 years ukaripo kwani soro branch?
Asakala uyu mnyamata waku ndande kwa chinyanja. Uyu mnyamata waku Napsa akambati ija 45 wakamba wajawari above 45 but wanakwanise ya jama 60 contributions, so everyone is eligible. The minimum is that you should have contributed, if you are below the age of 45 you should have contributed 60 contributions, which translates to 5 years. Or if you have 2 jobs, it can even translate to 2 years, but you should have made 60 contributions. And for 45 is applying to those that could be above 45 but they have not met the 60 contributions required. I think I should clarify. Thank you very much. I think Mr. Sakala we shouldn't allow the other topic to be neglected. I'll take a short break and let's listen to the GMO as I come back to the importation of GMO food. I think that's also very key. Let's play the GMO video.
The National Biosafety Authority has swung into action by confiscating genetically modified mealie-meal, which is illegally on the market. An operation conducted in Lusaka's Bowling compound has seen the seizure of 19.5 bags of super mealie-meal. The mealie-meal, which is being sold at 148 kwacha per 25-kilogram bag, was illegally imported from South Africa, and the authority is worried about the safety of this commodity, as it was not cleared by their office to be placed on the market. An officer from National Biosafety Authority was given a lead by the owner of the shop. Via the telephone conversation, the person supplying this mealie-meal, which is not certified to be on the Zambian market.
Kuchawama banatire terapaja kuri batoriwara mu kamwara batigebe batezeka kuchawama bati namba yabo ni yamenei batima Odessa banatuza kutimuka kuna na wina muditumire atijuza bapapa.
According to the shopkeeper, out of the 50 bags of mealie-meal which was supplied to them, 30 have so far been sold. National Biosafety Authority Communications Officer Sandra Lombe explains the reasons behind this exercise.
We've seized about 19.5 bags of mealie-meal that may contain GMO. This mealie-meal is coming from South Africa and it came in the country without a permit from the authority. This means that this mealie-meal that we have seized, we are going to destroy it because we have not conducted a risk assessment to ascertain its safety. And if you can see and read from the bag, it indicates that it's good for 4 years and above. So what happens to the children? And it was being sold in a community. We want to believe that those people that bought, they could have children that could have consumed or that may consume this mealie-meal.
The authority has since appealed to members of the public who have bought this type of mealie-meal to return it immediately, as its safety is questionable. Naomi Mwamba, Prime TV News, Lusaka.
You've seen the National Biosafety Authority went to Kanyama and impounded the mealie-meal that has been imported. That is our view, is that mealie-meal, by the 2 actors cited, cannot be imported in this country, whether in transit or for consumption. And I've condemned the statement that was issued by the National Biosafety Authority, where they said mealie-meal from South Africa is safe. And they said there are other products Zambians are eating that are GMO. Biscuits, cornflakes. My concern there is that the act is very, very clear. Remember, other than just the importation, you need to get consultation with Zambians. And in fact, it used to be 30 days, but it is as prescribed. So you just can't issue a small notice in a newspaper with the 1,000 circulation and you say you consulted Zambians. Further, I still insist, when you look at Section 11 of the Biosafety Act, it forbids to import GMO products that are related to crops of national importance or livestock of national importance. So we want to Bakwalesa, even when we are in this crisis caused by this government, because they exported literally everything, as I demonstrated on Friday, we only have 352,000 metric tons of maize. That is 1.5 months supply. We'll open our grain marketing season in July because you have to allow for maize to dry. Remember that Takwatama kilns, we don't have dryers. We allow the sun and the elements to dry the maize. That's why the period for opening the grain market season is in July, so that the maize has accepted moisture. If you buy it too early, it will rot. And with our limited storage sheds, you'll have difficulties. Okay, let's go back to the cause. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I'm calling from within Kabwe.
Your name, sir?
Oh, this is Kawamba Kennedy.
Yes, Mr. Kawamba Kennedy. Please proceed with your contributions.
Yeah, actually, I saw the post and the video, anyway. The decision is just good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just okay according to my own understanding, the way I've read it.
Of bringing GMOs?
Sorry?
Of bringing GMOs or on the Napsa payments?
On the number payment.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Mwamba Kennedy.
Come again?
Are you working?
Actually, I was, but right now I'm not.
Yeah. In fact, I'm asking that question because I saw a lot of questions, and I wish that KEFAS can come back. What happens to workers that made contributions to Napsa but are no longer working? They are in a period where they do not have a job. What happens to them? Can they still make a claim for that 20%? Or is it for those that are currently in employment? But Kennedy, probably you also have a similar question, isn't it?
Come again?
You also may have the similar question. Can you still access the 20% contribution?
That's what I wanted to ask as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because on my behalf, I was working with Zambis, which is from 2018 up to 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I was making up the contribution
to 2021.
Yeah,
okay, that's a very good example because you might not have met the 60 contributions that they are talking about. So this would be a good question to KEFAS to come and answer.
Yes.
And did you work before that?
Sorry?
Did you work before 2018?
Before 2018, yes, I did, but I wasn't making the contribution to Napsa.
You only started when you were working with Zambif in 2018?
Yes.
So your contribution is about 3 years and you may not have made the 60 contributions. Let's wait if KEFAS can call back.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Kennedy.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, the last matter, as we begin to wind down, is a scandal at Ministry of Health. Ministry of Health is trying to import medicine from Egypt. They are making a payment of $70 million. The president has so far fired 2 permanent secretaries from Ministry of Health. And today we had a news item from a Daily Nation which said there will be transfers of about 6 directors. We think that the problem is with the minister, because there was an earlier scandal earlier, in the middle of the year last year, where even a contractor stated that there was a soliciting of bribes and corruption from the minister. It's public knowledge. We are never malicious on this forum. We think that this deal is being pushed on the throats of professionals, and you are firing innocent people. We think that the buying of medicine from Egypt is not ideal for one simple reason. The best medicine, even where Europe buys from, is from India. You may not like India, but India, UK buys medicines from India. While we can buy medicine from Egypt, let it be done properly. Don't pay an agency that will then subcontract other manufacturing entity. I've looked at the documents, and I've looked at this single sourcing document. It doesn't impress. In fact, it should be cancelled. The issue of large-scale procurement, where you are procuring this large-scale, whether it's fertilizer or fuel, and you're using a single sourcing, is not ideal. It's not transparent. It's not ideal. The law says it has to be under emergency nature. And why are you depriving local contractors, local suppliers? That is our issue. And you can't force. You may fire as many permanent secretaries as possible, but no permanent secretary who knows financial regulations in this country, who knows the Public Finance Management Act, will pay an agency that will then pay other contractors. I've looked at this Egyptian procurement authority. There are many of them. I think there are over 20 so-called procurement authority from Egypt, because what Egypt did in 2017, 2018, under General Sisi, who's the president there, is that sectors have, because it's publicly run process. Of course, there's a private sector, but each ministry has a procurement authority, which then engages vetted suppliers. We have something similar here, where our contractors have to submit. And in this case, why are we paying an agency that will then subcontract other people? We think that the deal is corrupt. Don't fire PS, don't suspend directors. You are the one at fault. Hello, good evening, and tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Good evening. Yes, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, calling you from Kasama.
Okay, your name, sir?
Steven.
Yes, Steven. Please make your contributions.
Yeah, Mwamba wesu.
Emkwayama.
Yeah, na papa saka klipu na monako.
Emkwayaka GMO.
Yeah,
enough tusakamika sana.
Favours and above.
Yes.
Mamba. Why karashani ubunga mumwesu Zambia kabiri?
If tule baba national biosafety ababe belati yo mealie-meal from South Africa is safe, we think that it is not safe. Nefunde liali kanya. GMO, if you want to bring GMO products, you have to conduct a public and participatory process. Back to Ireland. In fact, I'm going to play another video from a gentleman who's in environment and who's very, very threatened. He says we will lose our European market because we are exporting to Europe, especially vegetables, and we're trying to begin to export meat. But as soon as you introduce GMO products, you lose the European markets. Europe. It's only America that has been pioneering this GMO technology, and they've imposed it in South Africa, Sudan, and Malawi. If you GMO. So ukumfwa at today GMO, how will you how will we know they could be coming from here?
Exactly.
So let me play a video from Mwalayi Mfaba Stephen, where someone is very concerned and is an expert in this area.
This is
is very, very huge. So we should take advantage of that market. There is also a danger that when we bring in GMOs, we are going to go into monocropping. And you know what it does, what monocropping does is that it takes away our indigenous seed. So we shall lose our indigenous food, which is very nutritious. And we also realize that our indigenous seed is also resistant to effects of climate change. Again, that is an area that we shall do very badly if you allow the GMOs to come in. Ultimately, we shall have monocrops and we shall have huge mechanized farms, and our people, instead of being producers, will become farm laborers. And we shall have all the productive means being captured by multinational companies. So there are so many negativities that are associated with the GMOs compared to the benefits.
There are a lot of concerns. First, we will lose our market. Two, there is contamination to other crops. And that's why even GMO products are banned. Because if you bring mealie-meal, it can be fed to stock feed. It can be part of stock feed. It can be given to animals. Because it's changed at the atomic level, genetic modified organisms. That's what it means. It's extremely dangerous. There's a huge debate in Europe. Europe has mostly refused GMO. Yes, you can find them in America. It's new technology, whatever they say. And that's why it endangers your original seeds. Because it's an invasive, mwalishwa technology feyava. So, ukumwana tuwelefa kuleta GMO, even if you are taking it to the Congo, which consumes it, because of course Congo, we have issues. We think that this government is obliged to follow the Biosafety Act of 2007. They shouldn't depart from it. By a single letter, they should not depart from it. Those are our concerns. So I'll take calls on these three issues. One, Napsa, which we dedicated a lot of time, and thanks to Kefas from Napsa who came and clarified a lot of issues. Number two, the importation of GMO products under the law. We think that the Biosafety Act and the Biosafety Authority, the National Biosafety Authority, must comply with the law, not in the manner that they've done, where we lent to them that we're actually consuming GMO foods. Number three, the issue of importation of medicines by Ministry of Health. The President made some reshuffles last week, and one of the affected permanent secretaries is Ministry of Health. This is the second permanent secretary, like it is the third one at Ministry of Mines. Where there are these contentions, the President must side with these technocrats. They are probably better even at protecting his name. The ministers are the ones that introduce corruption. I know by experience. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling you from Mufurira.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Tembo Moses.
Yes, Mr. Tembo Moses.
Yes, I want to add my voice on the subjects under discussion.
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, now, one on the Napsa thing.
Yes.
My only concern is that there are those of us, for example, that are above 45.
Mm-hmm.
And my contributions are not 60 months.
Mm-hmm.
And my contributions are not that much, although, again,
mm-hmm.
is it possible that when making that claim, and then to add more, you have no chance of getting a job again, for example?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can you claim all your benefits from Napsa? If it is 20,000, you get your 20,000, and that's it. You cease to be a member of Napsa. That's my question.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the issue of GMOs.
Mm-hmm.
That one is not something that we should entertain in our country, really.
Mm-hmm.
Under the circumstances. Even if it is to import, let us import something that is safe for human consumption and also, as well as animal consumption.
Mm-hmm.
Then, thirdly, Madam Nawakwi the other day suggested that let government talk to commercial farmers, local commercial farmers.
Mm-hmm.
They can do a winter crop
Yes.
Okay? Because it only takes 120 months for maize to
120
grow.
days.
So, yes, about 120 days at most. So if say we still have a lot of time between now and the next rainy season, they can grow that maize as long as it is subsidized. They give them electricity, they give them enough inputs in terms of fertilizer and seed, and then they just agree on the terms. At least to have something that can cushion.
Yeah.
Personally, I like that suggestion.
Yeah. Okay.
Then there's the aspect of those importations of medicine. There are so many questions regarding that issue, yes. So they need to look at those contracts, because those things, when they're out of office, they'll backfire.
Yeah.
Then thirdly, I want to talk of, last but not least, the issue of going to IMF. That does not sit well with me as a Zambian citizen. Look, we've got the Kasensele gold mine.
Yes.
What are we doing with that gold? We've got the sewage lights at Chembe here, Mwamba. Okay? All that is in our hands. We've got emeralds done at Kaja mine. But I'll talk more about the sewage light and the Kasensele gold, especially the sewage light one. It is so easy to mine that thing.
Yes.
We've got expertise, we've got all the technicians we need, we've got the engineers we need, we've got the equipment we need. Why not just mine even for 6 months? And we'll be there with all the money that we need. This issue of always looking to IMF should come to an end.
Yeah.
Then beyond that, we need to look at the whole mining thing. Why should we give out nickel, for instance? Nickel costs $35,000 a ton. And we have no shares in that. Almost all the major mining activities taking place in Northwestern Province, it's zero. I was privileged to have worked at Kansanshi mine myself.
Yes.
When copper is living at 0.4 and you are going for work, you have a lot of trucks living. And when you sit down, ourselves as employees, then we ask ourselves, you know what people say? Our leaders.
Yeah.
Somebody sitting in Lusaka making decisions doesn't exactly know what is happening on the ground. So as soon as Tumbeko Msokotwane comes back from wherever he has gone to beg for money, let's sit down and say, "What's Tumbeko? Tiense kuva plok. Pachembe fiapa. Tuimbe sujira iteria shiripwe. If you shakula lomba kwa tiawe, yefyo na chipwa."
Yeah.
Mwamona? Tuichusha fifwewe ni fyonze twalikwata. We've got our education, we've got everything in place. And unfortunately, why is Dr. Sokotwane finds himself on these things always?
Yes.
And that is what people are saying on the ground. Not nokutaliawe. Twaimba neri ashiriapo. Nombe fyako musungu alibemba mchibuku chachita mwakuti.
Yeah.
Ababali embere chabe international standard dise wine. Tuefa tubike Zambian standard.
Yes.
Neri ashiriapo. That's what I can say.
But Tembo, I'm so grateful and thank you for your insightful contributions.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. Mr. Tembo from Muflira has valid points. Why are we begging with the IMF? Why are we being pushed left, right, and center? And like we want, you cannot run an economy depending on external factors. Number one, you are depending on foreign investment. Number two, you are depending on the IMF. And here we are. From the first time we won the staff level agreement in December 2021, they only released $188 million out of $1.3 billion. We are almost 2 years with the IMF. And Tembo is right. Imagine if we deploy SCMIH at Kasensele Gold and they mine even for 6 months. It can help us pay these debts. Imagine we deploy SMIH to go and mine Sujilite. What's so difficult about it? Look at the minister in Washington literally saying he has no solution other than the IMF. Let's play the video.
Are you concerned at all about the next distribution that Zambia is scheduled to get from the IMF, something like 188 million US dollars, that distribution won't be met?
Yes, we have concerns. The prerequisite for getting that distribution from the IMF requires two things. Number one, the country must be on course in implementing the program with the IMF. And just last week, the IMF staff team was in Zambia, and they came to the conclusion that Zambia is spot on in terms of implementing the IMF program. The second thing that is required is to have reached memorandum of understanding with the creditors, giving financial assurance to be supported by the creditors. As of now, that has not happened, and because of that, there is no automatic reason to believe that the 188 million will be released.
What is the alternative? If that doesn't happen, what sort of plans have you discussed, of course, with Hichilema, the president, with regards to stabilizing their currency and stabilizing the economy in lieu of that payment?
Well, the first thing that we are doing since we arrived here, we are seeing executive directors at the board members of the IMF to appeal to them. Number one, let's work together to make sure that the debt is resolved. Number two, given the possibility that the MOU is not signed, Zambia should not be punished. What would be the point of punishing a country that is performing?
Right. Thank you very much. As you saw, the minister is lamenting that the payment from IMF may not even come because the staff level agreement was just a second review was done and there's an approval of $188 million. He says it may not be available for two reasons. Number one, first it has to go for approval to the IMF executive board. Two, there's a condition of the creditors committee. They must give those financial assurances on debt relief, debt reschedule, or debt cancellation. While we are on break, there were many people that were calling. I would like to ask you to call again as we begin to wind down. We've got only next 15 minutes. We have to end the program at 22 hours. So let's begin to get the last calls relating to the subject matter under discussion. We're discussing Napsa and the pre-retirement benefit payment. We've got some summaries there. You can only get 20% of your contribution, and you should have contributed minimum 60 contributions if you are below the age of 45. If you are above the age of 45, you still can contribute. If you lost your job but you made contributions to Napsa, we asked KEFAS to come back to answer on that. And but all questions around Napsa, I think, were adequately handled by KEFAS, and his emphasis was that you need to be on the Napsa online application, the eNapsa. So apply so that it is easier for you. On GMOs, we think many people have said that we shouldn't entertain this at all. It is not good for us as a country. It is not beneficial for us as a country. And the Biosafety Act of 2007 is very clear. You need the mandate of our people. You need to consult widely with our people. You need to hold public discussion and public consultative forums before you can allow the importation. Further, Section 11 of the Act literally forbids the authority from issuing any authority on or permit on the importation of crops deemed of national importance or livestock deemed of national importance. So even maize, for me, is outlawed. You can't bring it in, whether for consumption or for transit to the DRC market. They just have to look for non-GMO markets. The scandal at Ministry of Health and the importation of medicine worth $70 million under single sourcing, I think it's a matter of worry there. 2 permanent secretaries have been fired, but we think that the issue is with the minister, nobody else. That minister must be fired. Like many stakeholders spoke today, that the reshuffles should affect the ministers too. You cannot be sparing ministers while sacrificing civil servants and professionals. The IMF, clearly, 20 months on, we don't have any solution with the IMF. This government must not depend on external issues such as the IMF or foreign direct investments. We have Kansaseli gold. We have gold mines across this country. Why don't we exploit that in the short term and quickly benefit from that? So we will be coming to an end in the next 13 minutes. If you have any contribution, please make it. The current high price of mealie-meal is as a result of carelessness from this government, nothing else. We had a bumper harvest of 3.6 million metric tons, the highest we've ever had in this country in 2020-2021 farming season. We had another good harvest, not bumper, but good harvest in the 2021-2022 farming season, 2.7 million metric tons. Our national consumption is 2.4 million metric tons a year, which is 200,000 metric tons a year. So why are we sitting on maize stocks of 352,000 metric tons, barely to make us survive in 1.5 months? I know many people are saying we can wait for the next harvest. Even this harvest will be poor for many reasons, as stated by our people. One was late distribution of farming inputs, where basil dressing was arriving in January, February, and top dressing arriving at the same time with basil dressing. The crop is poor across the country, and only those that could afford. So the crop for this year, the harvest, will be poor. And yet we had so much maize which we have exported. Someone must pay for those careless decisions. Someone must pay for allowing, the export of our national strategic reserves. The national strategic reserves were set at 500,000 metric tons. In 1994, the population was small. I think we are only about 89 million at the time. We are now 20.6 million metric tons. Let me take this call. Yeah. Good evening.
Hello?
Check those calls later, but he needed to know that I was live on radio. So those were our topics for today. Remember, I'll be having this discussion every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The purpose of this discussion is to discuss national current issues, provide perspective, have a national discourse that builds both the opposition and government. You cannot have these discussions that don't build our country. And if people have made mistakes, if people are corrupt, they have to be held accountable. As we've seen the activities at Ministry of Health and Ministry of Agriculture. You cannot be fighting old corruption, yet you are not dealing with new corruption. Corruption is corruption, whether then or now. The issues around how we run the economy is very important. This economy is almost in a coma. There's no money in the economy. Look at the high cost of living. As you heard from our people, the issues of high cost of living is not going away. Our people are saying, and even for those that are working, they are yoked to loans and debts, and especially from microfinance institutions. You need an economy that is working. And the solutions that have been provided of the IMF or foreign direct investment may not provide an urgent solution. I wish we had time. We're going to even discuss the exchange rate. Remember, the exchange rate has jumped. It was at 21 kwacha just the other week. It's now at 17 kwacha. If we had time, we're going to discuss this particular matter too. Is the appreciation as a result of economic activities? Is the appreciation as a result of confidence in the market? Is it as a result of rising exports? Or it is as a result of direct intervention by the central bank, where they flooded the market with dollars to have this artificial appreciation? We had hoped that we would have had an opportunity to discuss all those items, but I think we had a beautiful and fruitful contributions. Again, I noticed that the WhatsApp calls didn't come. It's something probably technically we have to resolve. All I had were direct calls. I didn't have calls from the diaspora, but I can see they're coming as missed calls. So I hope that by Wednesday I will have resolved these issues for those calling us by WhatsApp, because we had a lot of direct calls, and thank you for all the callers. We may have to begin to wind up. I think we've discussed everything. We're discussing the issue of Napsa. The Napsa Managing Director General has issued a statement that people can begin the applications for this 20% by tomorrow. He says the beneficiaries should have made contribution of 60 months, which is about 5 years, or the issue of 45 years, which was now clarified the manner it would be done. We're discussing the corruption at Ministry of Health. This is the second biggest act of corruption, and we see no action from the president. Why do you have sacred cows, Mr. President? We're discussing the decision to import GMOs. I think it's not necessary, and we shouldn't be resolving issues for Congo. We have a video of trucks of going, from Congo. A friend of mine sent me that video, where you see trucks and trucks and trucks up to Kitwe, stuck, going to Kasumbalesa. Some are staying up to 10 days. We shouldn't be worried about the DRC. The DRC as an import-export mechanism, they handle their own economy. So you can't bring GMOs in our country for purposes of taking them to the DRC. You contaminate and you damage your own market, because we are known as a non-GMO market. Play that video if we have it. It's running. Okay, thank you. Oh, it has no volume, but it's running. Yeah, thank you very much. So as you can see, look at the number of trucks. That's a gentleman coming, from Chingola, looking at the number of trucks that are going up to Kasumbalesa. So why are we resolving the issue of DRC? DRC has its own mechanism. This government must worry. We have no maize in this country. We only have maize for 1.5 months. We do not have, we have two of our headaches. Our headaches is that we do not have adequate maize supply in our country to give to our millers. That is why the price of mealie-meal is in excess of 200 kwacha, literally across the country. We need to resolve the crisis. So, Mwabantu Wakwalesa, it's that time for us to end the discussion. Thank you very much for all the callers and your contributions, and thank you for your insights. Let's meet on Wednesday. We'll have a topic that I'll advertise, and thank you for all those calls that we received. So our aim is to have a national discourse that builds this country, to have on the table things that should help resolve the issues of this country. And you and me should be active participants in the issues that are affecting our country. And if people are making mistakes, we need to call them out. So with those few words, I'd like to thank you. God bless you. May the Lord keep your soul. May the Lord keep your household. May you rise tomorrow, and we'll see you on Wednesday. God bless you. God bless our country. And God bless you. Thank you very much, and good night.
Mwamba Emmanuel, Mwamba Emmanuel.